Well, Ken, how are budget negotiations going broadly from your perspective?
Yeah, Nick, I'll tell you, I wish they were going better than they are, unfortunately. We were all disappointed last week. We thought we could have things wrapped up. And, of course, the governor decided to take a European vacation on us, did not let anybody know. We weren't prepared for that. We were set and ready to wrap it up. And lo and behold, the governor was not a part of it. And she tried to tell us that, the budget is our problem, not hers, which I found that very interesting. So, we decided we'll just work directly with the Senate. We'll just get this done without her input, and then we'll submit it to her when it's done. And now this week she's back and inserting herself into the process. So it's been frustrating, but we're in good shape. You probably know that the House, we passed our budget, it's been probably a month now. And I know my personal budgets, I chair two budgets, and my budgets have been done for a couple of months. So it's been frustrating.
Well, beyond the trip taking place during budget negotiations, I know from what I've seen most Republicans have taken issue with is the fact that it's taken place during the budget negotiations. What are your thoughts on a governor going to other countries, asking for job creation here in Michigan, which is largely what Governor Whitmer has done for the past several years now? Do you think that's something that a governor should be doing?
Well, it's not, whether I think they should or shouldn't be doing it. I haven't seen any results whatsoever. And I think, that's what it comes down to. If you're going to be gallivanting around the globe, the proof is in the pudding. What exactly have you brought back? What jobs are being produced? And I'm just not seeing that at all. So, again, our frustration just continues to go that she's out, spending taxpayer dollars and not showing up really and doing her job. That's probably the most important thing in Lansing right now, and that's get this budget done by July 1st.
What are some of the main sticking points between the two parties during these budget negotiations, especially now?
Yeah, well, probably one of the issues is the governor and the Democrats in the Senate. They want to take money out of the rainy day fund to balance the budget. And that's completely opposite of what the Republicans, want to do. In fact, our budget puts an additional $300 million into the rainy day fund, as opposed to taking money out now. I mean, that money is there for emergencies. We're not in an emergency situation. We're in a situation right now where the government just spends too much money. Another thing, as far as comparing our budget with the Senate's budget, is, our budget looks to just cut more waste, more fraud, more abuse. We've found $600 million that can be coming out of this. We found $800 million in new taxes and fees that the governor is trying to, put into the budget. It's just not necessary. Michigan, as you know, Nick, Michigan families, we're already stretched, thin by higher costs, and they shouldn't have to bail out a government that refuses to fix its own spending problems.
The rainy day fund, I want to talk about that just for a little bit. You said that the Democrats want to use some of that money. I know that the Democrats' budget's a little higher than the proposal from Republicans, but it's not the highest that they've ever proposed, if my memory serves me right from looking into that. So what are they trying to spend this money on, and where's this gap in funding where they think they actually have to pull from the rainy day fund if this is, if funding in the past has met spending expectations before?
Yeah, well, like normal, the Democrats are looking to fund programs, that the state has been paying for that, haven't shown any proven results whatsoever. What they like to do is basically they go through the budget, they look at the departments, and they look at all the line items, if they even do that, and they go, okay, we'll just raise everything by 5%, as opposed to the approach that we took as Republicans, where we went line by line. I mean, this process took months, and met with the department, met with stakeholders to find out exactly what that line was being used for, and has it been successful? Do we have proven results? And when they didn't show that, or in some cases, they continue to ask for more and more money every year. And again, you're asking, what they're doing with this money. They're asking for money for these programs, and the departments haven't even spent the money that was already given to them. So they're just stockpiling more money for the future. So what we did is we did a 3-year look back to say, okay, these programs, what did they actually spend? You've been asking for this money, you've been asking for raises every year, but what did you actually spend? And then we went back to those numbers and we averaged the last 3 years, and those are the amounts we're using. So we're not going to continue to just, again, allow these departments to just stockpile money. It's crazy.
Speaker Hall and House Republicans at large have been pushing for major property tax reform. As the deadline gets closer, is that going to become more negotiable, or is major reform something Republicans are not going to budge on?
Yeah, that is something we're not going to budge on. That was not a negotiation tactic by any means. That is a serious issue for people across the state. Property taxes, housing, in general is just becoming completely unaffordable. But taxes, property taxes, it was time for some major reform. So, we've started that discussion. There's going to have to be some restructuring. That's why we needed to go back in and look at all these departments and find out, what they're spending money on. And, we're literally finding, billions of dollars out there that could be put to better use. And one better use would be to lowering people's property taxes. So we've got a plan to do that, and it's going to happen. Whether we can reduce them completely, significantly, or eliminate them, that's yet to be seen.
Specifically in the budget, a lot of press there's a lot of press on the school part of the budget or the roads, things of that nature. And you and I have had conversations in the past about the DNR and some issues within the department and you wanting to keep them in check. Now, the DNR has suffered, some of their areas have suffered now, not only just the heavy snowfall from this past winter and then the ice storm of last year, but also the flooding now. So what is the budget going to look like for the DNR this year? Obviously, still in the process of negotiating, but I don't know. Maybe that is something that Republicans and Democrats are more aligned on.
Yeah, and you're right. We are still negotiating, and we will. We'll probably meet again face to face this week to go over some of the details. But I tell you, I put a list together. I don't have it in front of me right now. I would say there's probably 10 or 12 items with the DNR that we want to see them restructure. And, there's money being stockpiled, it's being spent on things that aren't necessarily productive. And we want to see some of that stuff moved into dealing with some of the emergency things that we face. Like you said, the ice storm, the flooding. I mean, these are things that we've got to take care of, and we will. And but I want to see some real changes within the department. I'm asking for some simple things that don't even cost them any money. One thing that really bothers me and my constituents is the DNR simply calling public-owned lands as DNR property. And what that does, that creates a mindset within the department of we own the property, we're going to decide what to do with it. And that's not how things work in this state. The public owns that property. And the public has got to have input, and they have that input through their legislators, and so that's something simple. So I'm looking to just change a lot of things like that within the department. I want to see them implement these changes, and then we can talk about the fee increases that they've been asking about for the last few years. But as of right now, there will be no fee increases. We're not going to raise fees on boaters and fishermen and hunters. It's just not going to happen until we can get a department that's, more focused on customer service and less focused on government overreach.
Do Democrats seem interested in a stopgap if a deal cannot be reached in time? I know the speaker floated that as a possibility.
I haven't had that conversation. I know, like you said, the speaker has put that out there, doing a continuing resolution if we can't figure this out. If we have to push this on till after the first of the year when we have a new governor and a new Senate, the speaker is prepared to do that. I mean, one of the things that can't wait, and we're focusing a lot of our attention on that, and that's school funding right now. The schools need to know what their budgets are, so they can get started in September. We're very mindful of that, and that's going to be a priority. But all the other stuff could be pushed off if we have to. Do we want to do that? No, we don't. We want to get this thing done, but we got to do what's right for the people of Michigan.
I do want to dig a little further into that on the stopgap. This is from Bridge, Michigan. Quote: this is also a quote from Speaker Hall in the first part. If we don't see movement from the Democrats in some of these issues, then we could just do a 4-month continuing resolution, and we'll do a new deal next year with a Republican governor and maybe a Republican Senate. Hall said, confident that Republicans will expand their control of the legislature and win Michigan's top office in the November midterm elections. I know most folks put on a confident face. I'm not going to ask you about your thoughts on, the odds Republicans take the trifecta. But Republicans currently participate in divided government. They have a seat at the table now. The results of the general election could go, one of 3 ways. Democrats sweep, Republicans sweep, power remains divided. What are your thoughts on choosing to take action now with the power you guys have, or take a gamble with this continuing resolution, and it could go well with a Republican trifecta in November, or it could go not so well and Democrats could get the trifecta?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I am all for taking action now. Our caucus is all for that. That's what we're focusing on. That's what we're planning on. But we have to be realistic. We're only one part of the trifecta. Here in Lansing, and we've got a Democrat Senate, we've got a Democrat governor, so it's difficult. But even though it's difficult, we're not going to just sit back and let them run over us. We're not going to let them run over the people of the state of Michigan. But I am confident that you're probably going to see some significant movement this week. That's what we're shooting for. That's what we're planning on, and that's what the people of Michigan deserve.
Any other legislation that you're working on that you're excited about?
I've got a few things going. In fact, I've got probably 4 or 5 bills that are sitting over in the Senate right now that they won't even give a hearing, and these are things that pass bipartisan in the House. There's absolutely no reason. I mean, I've spent most of my time obviously working on the budget, but just a couple simple things. My propane people, back when we had the ice storm up in Michigan, they go out and they service the generators for the towers out there for law enforcement and other, cell phones. And unfortunately, when the ice storm came, the frost laws were on the road. So legally, they were not allowed to go out there. And we had problems with towers going down. So I've got legislation that will say, if there's a state of emergency, it's an automatic thing that the frost laws will be overridden if trucks need to get on the road to be part of rectifying that situation, they can. So kind of a simple thing. It's a no-brainer, but that's one fix that I have just sitting in the Senate. Again, it passed bipartisan. There's no reason for them not to move it. And then another one too is to allow individuals to get their hazmat license at 18. Right now, you got to wait till you're 21 before you can get it. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of 18, 19, and 20-year-olds that I would trust in a truck that's hazmat than even myself out there. So we're looking to change that. I mean, they'd have to go through the same training. They have to go through the same approval process. But, a lot of these companies out there are desperate for drivers, and that just seems to be a simple fix. So those are probably the 2 major ones I'm working on. And then one that I've been working on for 5.5 years, and that's to allow recreational feeding of wildlife. So it passed in the past. The governor vetoed it, and it passed the House again bipartisan, and it sits in the Senate. So that's what's on my plate right now.
You're the first elected official that I've spoken to since the news broke yesterday. Just wanted to get your reaction. It can be as long or as short as you'd like it to be. President Trump endorses John James, Congressman John James. Perry Johnson, businessman, stays in the race. Former Attorney General Mike Cox stays in the race, and Senate Minority Leader Eric Nesbitt bows out. Your reaction to the news yesterday?
Yeah, Nick, I'll tell you, this one's been a tough one for me because I was friends pretty much with all of the candidates on the Republican side, so it was real difficult for me. I didn't want to endorse in the primary. but actually about a month or so ago, I kind of saw the handwriting was on the wall that John James was going to be our best bet, to put the governor's office back in Republican hands. So I came out and endorsed him then. So I was glad to see actually what happened yesterday. President Trump made it very clear, because I know pretty much all the candidates were claiming they had Trump's backing, but Trump kind of put all those rumors to rest by coming out with John James. And personally, I think John is a great guy. I've known him for years. He's got the skills. He's got the leadership ability to get the state back on track. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he gets across the finish line.
Any office hours coming up?
No. In fact, actually, I haven't been doing coffee hours or office hours, as some people call them. I've found them to be extremely unproductive. Usually not many people show up, or when they do, it's the far left, the far right. They just want to fight with each other. So what I do is I reach out to different organizations, and I have them pull their people in district, where we can sit down and have a conversation. I can find out exactly, what they need and how I can help them. And I find those much more productive. In those, we just, there's no reason to put them out there, because we don't invite the public to those. But I'm always available to the public. Obviously, they know how to get a hold of me. My cell phone number's out there, my office number's out there, and I'm more than happy to, and I do on a regular basis, meet with people in district to discuss their issues.
We are speaking with State Representative Ken Borton, Republican from Gaylord. Ken, as always, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yep, Nick, it's always great to talk with you.